Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate Daprizing and running an application on a Minikube cluster. So I have a small web application built using a PowerShell and I've Dockerized it. In that application, I'm going to run it over a Minikube, right? So you can see the application over here is going to communicate to a Dapper sidecar, okay? And the communication is happening through the Dapper API, and the Dapper implements both HTTP and gRPC, where the gRPC is for the low latency for the local calls, both HTTP and gRPC over here. And I've got a state management. So the application which I built is going to get some information for the event registration and store it in the Azure table storage. So I've got a state store management, and you can opt in for Redis or MySQL or whatever it is. In my case, I have technically named it as event registration. Let me open up a pointer. Okay, so technically I've named it as event registration response. So I need to define my component and the type of that is state Azure table storage, because I'm going to store this in my Azure table storage, collect the information and store it in the table storage. And over here I can see in the part two container running. One is my web application container and another one is a data sidecar. And this application is also going to invoke a external API, a Telegram API, to send a notification about this registration. Coming back to my state store component, I need to give three parameters: a storage account name, storage account key, and a table name, wherein the Cosmos DB mode is optional. So in my case, I have pointed it to true. So quickly, let me show you how the application works. Let me quickly open up my terminal to see the Minikube status. My Minikube status is running and it's healthy. Let me see the pods. So for that, I need to run a command kubectl get pods-a. So I already have the application up and running. So let me go ahead and quickly delete and recreate it. Kubectl delete -f manifest deployment.yaml. I'll quickly show how I have defined the YAML file. Okay, it's going to be delete because I've got a state store component from a component folder. So now that I've got kubectl get pods a, I don't see the default namespace. That's good. So first thing first, I need to confirm that I've got the image in my Minikube. So I have my image in my local registry and added to port UX:B1, and it's tagged as port UX:B1. That is good. So my Minikube has got the image for my front end. That is good. So what happens if I run my application locally? If I go ahead and just quickly run app.ps1, my application is pointing to the localhost 3000. Let me access the application locally. That's good. It's just a static web app which has got an event registration form. So I've got things up and running. So I don't need to disturb it, because if I go and submit a form, I will not have a connectivity to my Azure table storage because I'm not running it in my Dapper locally too. So now I want to go and run it on Minikube, right? So for that, first thing I need to do is I need to go ahead and start my Dapper. But have you observed when I did a kubectl get pods-a, I already have a Dapper system namespace. So I have initialized to Dapper in my Kubernetes. So let me do this. Dapper uninstall k. So this will remove the Dapper system from my Minikube cluster. So now if I redo kubectl get pods-a, okay, let me do that here. So I don't see a Dapper system, any namespace with a Dapper system. That is good. So now I just go ahead and do Dapper init hyphen. Okay, I have the command already over here. So I just do Dapper init k. That makes sure that it's going to run on my Minikube cluster. It can also be rewritten as dash dash Kubernetes. And what's happening now is it's just getting the Dapper ready in my Kubernetes cluster, my Minikube cluster. So now let me do that kubectl get pods A, so I can see the Dapper system is back. So now I access Dapper dashboard hyphen K. I can access the dashboard and see the performance. It's healthy, the status is healthy, and I don't see any components here. So I need a state store component, right? So let me go back to my terminal and run a command. So I don't need to load the image because my image is already available. I'm going to run kubectl apply components state store.yaml. So I have a components folder. In that, I've got a state store, which is having the information about the Azure table storage, account name, account key, and the table name. So now that my state store is up and running, if I'm not wrong, let's quickly check it. And Dapper dashboard hyphen K. So this gives me the status of my component. Looks okay, but I'm not really sure how this works. Let's quickly go ahead and do the deployment. So in my deployment manifest file, I've got a service definition for the service and a Kubernetes deployment definition. It has got one replica, and I've got application name, match label, and in the annotations, I just let my system know that it's Dapper enabled. So this takes care that I'm going to inject a Dapper sidecar and do something through Dapper. Okay, so I've given my app ID, app port. This too is optional. I just want to enable anyway. So now I quickly go back and run kubectl apply manifest deployment.yaml. So this is going to start a service and deploy a service and also do a deployment that contains the pods. The pod contains the containers. Now I just quickly check the Minikube dashboard. So far we were seeing the Dapper dashboard. Now I'm getting into the Minikube dashboard. All right, excellent. I see something went wrong, but that's okay. I see something wrong with the Dapper D. Process is not starting. So what I do for that is I quickly go and do kubectl delete. I'm not 100% sure about the error, but still I just give it a try by removing my deployment.yaml and also my state store. Now I check my pods and I just do a quick apply of my component, state store component. And then now I do kubectl apply manifest and also check whether my service and deployment.apps are up and running. So kubectl get pods -a. I do see a crash loop back off. What's wrong with that? Let me see that in my Dapper dashboard. -k. So my Dapper dashboard status also says there's something is wrong here. What's wrong here is what I need to check. My local host is listening fine, no issues. And now let's quickly come back to my Kubernetes dashboard and refresh it. Is there, okay, my Kubernetes dashboard is not running. Run container error is still getting back to normal. I don't see anything good sign here. We'll do Minikube dashboard. Okay, let's see kubectl get pods A and kubectl delete -f manifest deployment.yaml. So I have deleted it. And then if I do Minikube dashboard, I shouldn't see any workloads. Now I need to rerun my manifest file. I need to apply my manifest file, so that I'm rerunning the apply command, kubectl apply manifest deployment.yaml. So now if I go ahead and do Minikube dashboard, this should give me a healthy pod if I'm not wrong, but still the pod is not running as expected. Let's quickly see the status of my Dapper dashboard. If I do Dapper dashboard -k, so the status is 0, 1. My metadata is all set correct. Configuration is good. I don't want to get onto the code UX. It's still listening. I've got the Dapper process also doing good. And I've got 1.95 as my runtime version. Probably let's give a try by downgrading it to a different runtime version. Kubectl. Okay, let me do that. Dapper upgrade. So now that I'm downgrading the control plane version from 1.9.5 to 1.0.0 release candidate 3. Meanwhile, I can just go to Dapper dashboard -k to see the status. It is healthy. And if I get onto the control plane, I can see it has got a different runtime version. So now I can do Minikube dashboard. I still see the pod is in failed state, deployment is in failed state. So now I can quickly do a kubectl delete -f components state store YAML and also manifest deployment.yaml. Let's apply it again by doing kubectl apply and also kubectl manifest deploy. Now I do kubectl get pods-a. All right, so now that I can see a good sign, I can see both the pods is up and running. Sorry, both the containers in the pod are up and running. I can go to Minikube dashboard. All right, I can see a healthy sign. Let me quickly close the dashboards and go back and do a execution of a port forward. Before that, let me do a rollout. That is good. Now I do a kubectl port forward. My application is listening to the port 3000 even locally, as well as my application inside the container. Let me go ahead and quickly run localhost 3000, push enter, and now I go click event registration, and also I open up my web app Telegram so that I can show a pop-up appearing about the Telegram API, the consumption of the Telegram API. So now I've got my first name, my last name, some dummy email address, my phone number. So I'm going to give my company name city, country, zip code. So now I push a submit. So that is sending a notification in my Telegram. It gives my first name and my last name. And also I can access my storage account. And that takes fraction of a second. I've got a table. So underneath my table, I can see a record. That's good. So you can see a record here, my first name, my last name. So now for sanity, I just quickly go ahead and redo this by clicking a registration form. And this time I'm going to give something like, what should I do now as a demo, 1, 2, 3, d@fmail.com, some number, some text, whatever it is. So I just change it to it works. Or let's do hello world. Okay, so I push submit. I got an alert. So you can see a message here, hello world. That is good. Back here to my storage account, cancel and just do a quick refresh. I can see the entry here. So this is a good demonstration for the state store component. And this is a Daprize PowerShell web application running on a Minikube cluster. So let me quickly show you the code. How is this working? So I've got a app.ps1 file which goes and spin up my web server. Right, so this is built using PO, and PSHTML is just a view engine here. Helps me to render my HTML in the like how I use it in my PowerShell, right? So it's just another module, a DSL module, to helps me to write a PowerShell way to deliver or render the HTML. And I have got a couple of routes here. So it goes for the landing page. So that's what exactly you see when app.ps1 is spinning up. It goes and renders a home.ps1, which is in the views folder. So this is a PSHTML code which renders the HTML now. And also I've got another piece of route, event registration. So this is a post route. So this is another file for the form to collect the event registration information. So when I go click on submit button, this will go to the event registration response. So this is technically the component name, the state store component name. And this invokes event registration response page, right? So over here comes the business logic. I've got a Dapper API here, localhost, and the port listening to 3500. That's the Dapper port, Dapper HTTP port. And the v1.0 is the endpoint. Of course, the state. I'm using the state store component. And then comes as the technical name. So I have named it commonly for my component, for my route, and that's where my API endpoint should consume to, right? So now that this API requires a body where I'm going to pass in my first name, last name with a key. So over here, the key is just an employee ID, which you would have observed while inserting a record, a random number would have been generated. So I'm just using that here with the logic, the line number 25. Similarly, I do invoke a API for the Telegram. So I'm just passing a token for my Telegram, which comes up from here. I've got a token and also I've got a chat ID. So I'm using both of that Telegram chat ID to send a message. So I've given a link in the description how to get the Telegram token chat ID and some more information about the state store component in the Dapper. So I can just play around using this to learn Dapperizing an application and running it on the Minikube cluster. And in my upcoming videos, I'll try to show more on the networking part, the volumes, and also how to go and spin up this workload on cloud. Thanks for watching my video.